Welcome back to the Arsenal podcast. My name is Kosi. Yeah, Mikel Arteta out. There is another development with people in that agenda. I think they must be the happiest people around town. Nicola Pepe comes out, blasts Mikel Arteta, says he's not happy. Is it the Pogba issue? I mean, is he unhappy? Does he want to go to Real Madrid or something? Because, but anyway, welcome back to the show. Let us talk about that and more. There's so many things around Mikel Arteta right now. Many people driving the agenda that he should actually leave the club. Many people like me saying he should stay at Arsenal. I want to know what you think. Go into the comment box. Tell me what you think. But if you don't want to use the comment box, then you can use a link to join me live on the show. Tell me what you think about Mikel Arteta. Should he be out already? There are some of the, there's some comments that are already coming in, and I'll be able to get you to host you on the show. The link is in the comment box. Use that link to join me. Tell me, what do you think about Mikel Arteta's situation at the club? 8 games in the Premier League, won 4, lost 4. Is Mikel Arteta the right man for the job at Arsenal? That is a big question at this point in time, when he is actually performing worse than Unai Emery was performing last season. Remember, the reason as to why we brought in Mikel Arteta was to rectify the wrongs that had failed to come right under the spell of Unai Emery, because the post-Wenger era has never been an easy one for us ever since Arsene Wenger. Actually, we started the post-Wenger era when Arsene Wenger was still at the club. Then we brought in Unai Emery, we brought in Freddie Ljungberg. None of them, absolutely none of them, did a good job. We brought in Mikel Arteta. Things seem to have, gone back to normal, but finally, he's proving to be another Unai Emery. You ask me, do I feel like, he should be leaving the club? Do I feel like he is a wrong manager? No, I don't feel that. I feel he is the right manager. I still think there is a lot he can add to the club. I still think there is so much Mikel Arteta can add to this club. But today, Nicola Pepe has come out, blasted him. He's not getting game time. And there's so many questions that we know, from the fans. Why isn't he playing Nicola Pepe? Why is he forcing William Aubameyang on the flanks, and yet that is not working? So many questions around Mikel Arteta. I want to know your opinion. I want to get your views on this. He's a manager I back. He's a manager I love. I know that there are so many Arsenal fans that are saying Mikel Arteta out. I can see Nathaniel here saying Mikel Arteta out. And, why not? I can just show this. He says Mikel Arteta out. We need an experienced manager. That's what he says. So feel free to come in and tell me your opinion. Is it time for Mikel Arteta out? Should we actually let Mikel Arteta leave Arsenal? And if he leaves, who should be the next manager? Is it Mauricio Pochettino? Is it, the RB Leipzig genius that has been, highlighted as one of the football geniuses right now in football management? Who should actually Arsenal go for if we decide that Mikel Arteta is not the right person for the job? Arsenal joins me. Hello, how are you doing today? Yeah, I think, he gets up, but I expect him to come back on the show. So please feel free to use that link in the comment box, call in, and give me your opinion. So I'll start the discussion off. Over the weekend, we lost humiliatingly to Aston Villa, 3-0. A game that we hosted at the Emirates Stadium, a game where all of us thought this was a chance for us to get back-to-back wins. FIFA Gaming says, there were internet issues. It's okay, it's okay, FIFA. You can try again. And anyone who wants to join, the link is in the comment box. So we lose to Aston Villa, in a game that all of us thought it should have been a straight win. It should have been a straight win. We lost to Villa. But it was really humiliating. Watkins' brace against Arsenal. The own goal from Bukayo Saka. Everything was wrong. Honestly, everything was wrong. Arsenal didn't do anything right there. And I told you, this was a time where we had to win back-to-back games, 2 back-to-back games against United and against Villa. Because trust me, there isn't going to be any easier fixtures for us. They're not going to be there. Manchester United, Aston Villa, that was a hard fixture because Villa are on fire. But we're not going to have any easier fixtures. Every team in the Premier League is as well equipped as the other. And you guys know that. When you look at Wolves, you look at Leeds, you look at West Brom, you look at Southampton, every club is as well equipped as the other. And every club has, something different they bring on board. So there is no thinking that, let's wait for the easier games. They're not going to come. The easier games are those games you get to play at the Emirates Stadium at home. And so many clubs are using that advantage. You go to, the Anfield, you go to the Etihad Stadium, you go to, I won't say the Old Trafford because it's much, much more or less like the Emirates Stadium. But the easy fixtures are those that come to your door at the Emirates Stadium, and we need to win that. But away from that, losing to Leicester City 1-0 at home and losing to Aston Villa 3-0 at home, we also have won only 4 out of our first 8 games this season, collecting 12 points out of the would-be 24 points. Now, the question also stands, actually not 24, they should be 27 points. If I'm 24 points. So there are so many questions about that. There's so many questions around that. And I want to hold the discussion with Arsenal fans. Is it time for Mikel Arteta out? Do you think Mikel Arteta is not doing the job? Do you think Arteta must be out of Arsenal by now? Because we don't want to see another Unai Emery. He never worked for us, and he spent a lot of time at the club. By the time he went, everything was wrong. The club had, he had demolished all the structures of the club, and all of us were frustrated. The fan base was actually torn apart. So this is where I want to add in some people. In the show. Nathaniel, come to the show.
What's going on? This is actually my first time ever on YouTube. I just want to say, I just want to say, I like your YouTube channel. I really do.
Thank you, sir.
Very unbiased. I just want to say a couple things. See, I like Mikel Arteta. I think he's a decent manager. I just think the job is it's too early for him. Obviously he has something about him because you don't go and beat big teams like City and Liverpool, and you can tell he has something about him. But I just think the pressure on him is just too much. I feel like he should go to maybe a club that's like the expectations are a bit lower. Maybe like a club in Spain, or maybe he can stay in England. Maybe go to a club like, I don't know, maybe I was gonna say Leicester, but Leicester are better than us. Or maybe like I don't know, maybe like one of the lower down teams. You know what I mean? So I just feel like I want him to succeed, but I just feel like the job is too early for him. And I mean, the players can come out and say they respect you, but do they really believe in what he's trying to do? I mean, you can believe, but if you're playing for a manager he has won a couple trophies, but I mean, really, Mikel Arteta, it's not like people like Aubameyang were growing up and dreaming they wish they can play for Mikel Arteta, you know what I mean? So, I mean, his man management is a bit questionable as well. So, the couple worrying signs, but I think a club like Arsenal, it's one of the toughest jobs along with the Barcelona job, Manchester United job. You need to bring in a manager like Rafa, even though some people say he's finished. I mean, he's astute. I mean, you don't come back from being 3-0 down against, one of the best teams in the world to the Champions League final. I mean, Rafa Benitez, I think Pochettino, I think he has a point to prove. Even though it's Arsenal, I think he'll still come in and give 100% because, remember, Tottenham sacked him. So he's going to want to come in and prove a point. So I just think that, we need to. I do think people are being a bit too harsh on Arteta, but for me, yeah, I think Arsenal just need to come to an agreement with him and say, you know what, go to a different team, learn your trade, and maybe 5 years, not from now, you can come back. That's all I think.
Okay, Nathaniel, yeah, I would agree. But at the time when we sacked Unai Emery, we needed a more experienced manager. We needed
Mm-hmm.
someone to actually um, transform us right away because that is what we were desperate for. We needed a change. We were desperately needing change, a positive change. Because for me, the Arsene Wenger era didn't end so well for me as a
Yeah,
fan. It didn't
yeah.
end so well. All of us were really frustrated of him. Unai Emery comes in. We thought he was, he could be a different kind of manager. He was very good at Sevilla. He had won the Europa League a couple of times, and you thought maybe he would do something at
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal. He never started. He never kicked off, with a bad start. But in the end, things were not so good for him.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it looks like Mikel Arteta on
Mm-hmm.
paper wasn't the right manager, but his early days, in his first days, he did a great job. And I think you put respect, in him for that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can respect it for that. Like I said, I'll repeat, like you don't beat City, you don't beat,
Yeah,
teams like Liverpool, and you don't, it's just by luck. If it was by luck, he would have done it once. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But for me, I just think it's the job is too big for him, and I said it before he came in.
yeah.
It's too big for him.
Yeah, I think that was the point, but that again, points back to the reason as to why he's at Arsenal. The fact that he's a cheap manager, the fact that he's a manager that can work with a small budget. I think that's what
Hmm?
Arsenal were looking for. And who do you think can work with our budget right now? Because most of the managers, the young managers that we want to fight for glory. They want to get, you know, big. They want to run big budgets, win the Champions League, win trophies, and write accolades on their name. Who do you think can run that small budget? I don't think Pochettino can. Like many Arsenal fans, wish. I don't think Pochettino can actually run that small budget, and he's
Hmm.
comfortable.
See, he would kind of be my first choice, but if it wasn't for him, I'd probably say, look at Allegri. He's someone who wants to manage in England because he's learning. He's Italian. He's learning English. He has a house in London. I don't think it's in North London. I think it's in West London. So that's why people will link him to the Chelsea job. But I think he wouldn't mind coming to Arsenal.
Yeah,
He's a guy. He has pedigree. He's won stuff. He's managed big egos, big players. You know, this Arsenal job. Since Mikel has played with a lot of some of these players, which is even a problem in itself. That just goes to show that some of these players have been here for too long. He's gonna want to be friends with some of these players. I know what he did with Ozil was a bit. You can say it's a bit messed up in my opinion. I think he did the right thing. Mesut Ozil, he's a bit. Even though he gave me a lot of good memories growing up, Mesut Ozil isn't the player he was. He's not motivated. As a manager, he can only do so much. But for me, I would bring in Allegri. I would bring in Rafa Benitez. I know he's in China. I know he's gonna cost a lot of money. But if you really if you really want a manager to come and shake up this dressing room, yeah, people like Rafa Benitez, people like Allegri that have dealt with big players before they come and put them in their place. So that's what we need.
okay. Arsenal. Are you there?
I think his mic is a bit low.
His mic is a little bit low.
Yeah, I feel like I hear something.
Okay, let's continue. When he sorts out his mic, then he will join the discussion. But to start with, the first 20. 8 games he has managed on Arsenal, for me, he has at times been impressive. There are times
Hmm.
when he has gone wrong as Mikel Arteta, and I'm like, okay, dude, manager, this was wrong. But for you, what is so wrong about Mikel Arteta? What is that, that you feel is so wrong about Mikel Arteta?
Positive. There's a lot of negatives, but for me, Mikel Arteta, I just feel like he's a bit naive, and obviously bringing in an experienced manager. He's never managed before. Obviously, I was suspecting that we came in, but he just seems like one of those managers, a bit like Wenger, a bit like Emery, where they have this kind of like way of playing. And for me, he's been here for almost a year now. Still doesn't really have a style of play. Still doesn't really have his best 11. And for me, that's a bit Emery-ish. And I know I
Yeah,
don't like to use that word, but it brings back bad memories. But it is a bit Emery-ish, and I'm starting to get worried because I really like Gatel. Even though he was a bit of a panic buy when we did get him, he was a decent player. He did his job. If you told him what to do, he'd do it. He scored a couple good free kicks, gave me a couple good memories. But like I said, I just feel like he's a bit stubborn. And
yeah,
when you're playing 8 at the back, and at one point it was 8 at the back. You got players like Thomas Partey. Even though he's not much of a creator, you can get the ball from the on the half turn. Spray balls out. That's some type of creativity because he puts the ball in dangerous areas. And I feel like he just needs to move Aubameyang to the middle. I know he does score a lot of his goals from the left, but at Dortmund, he played through the middle. He used to drift to the left. So that's why people think, he was played on the left. He didn't play on the left. He played through the middle. That's where he gets his goals from. If you look at Leicester, if you look at Tottenham, they would never play Jamie Vardy on the left. I mean, for me, like I said, I really like I said, but he's not the quality for Arsenal. I
yeah,
just,
yeah.
yeah. It's Eddie and Kay as a backup. That just goes to show you that this club is just, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, actually, one of the things that is crucifying him, the decision to play Aubameyang down to the left, which many people never
Hmm.
agree with. For me, he's the best striker in the league, and absolutely, there are no reasons as why he plays him on the left. We create less, very less. We need a very smart finisher, and we have him. So there is no way you're telling me that you have a smart finisher. You create less. That means you need a clinical finisher to finish off almost 90% or 95% of the chances you're creating, and then you're playing him down the left, and then I think I don't know why he plays Willian. He plays Willian ahead of Pepe, but it seems this just doesn't work. Aubameyang to the
Yeah.
left, right. It's just that it doesn't work, and he's stuck to that. He says, "I'm going to play them whether they want or not. I'm just going to play them." And for me, these are one of the things that a manager should see. This
Mhm.
doesn't work. Change to something else. I think I thought as a manager he should have thought about that. There are also other things he's doing. The defensive style of play. What do you think he's playing to this? He's going too defensive. Last season it was understandable. Our defense was really bad. This
Mhm.
season, do you think we are as bad as that defensively?
Um, I'm on Twitter. People been, in my mentions just saying, "Oh, what are you talking about? We have the best defensive record." It is cool, but you can sit there and talk about having the best defensive record when you're 11th in the table. I mean, we don't even have the best defensive record anymore. Villa just came to the Emirates and said, "You know what? These guys, this Arsenal still a big club, but you know what? We're not scared of these guys." And I just think that's, whose fault is that? I feel like that came from Wenger, because teams should come over here. And I remember James Ward-Prowse from Southampton. I'm not sure if that's his name. He came
Yeah.
out. I remember the game that last year we drew 2-2. He said we should have won that. Can you imagine a Southampton player come to the Emirates saying we should have won that? Is he crazy? That just goes to show you that the expectation is on the ground. It's not the expectation is just so low, and I just feel like you know you bring in a manager. I'm sorry. I'll answer your question, but I'm just saying you just need to bring in a manager that has good balance. Know when to go defensive, know when to attack. Like Simeone, people say he's defensive, but I've been watching him. I watched last season. I watched a lot of games of Atletico, mainly just to watch Partey. But he goes defensive, but when he needs to attack, he doesn't just. He's not like Arteta. Like when Arteta gets the ball, he just attacks because you know what, the team I got letting us have the ball. On Sunday, I was watching that game and I watched it back, and I'm just so confused. Like, as in, we're down 2-0, but you have 8 men behind the ball, and they still scored. I mean, what's going on? It
Yeah.
just seems like he's just playing defensive because he doesn't know how to attack. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, but by the way, it looks like that. It look and I said it. I think it was after the Manchester United game. I said we're a team that doesn't create, but we don't have any hope. We don't show any sign of you know change tomorrow. We don't see that. You don't see that in the next game. If we do this, we are gonna change. It looks like we're gonna have a flat, predictable
Mm-hmm.
season. All out. But he has been linked with two players, very creative players, Bosley and Hausemowa. Do you think the introduction of any of those could turn around his season like Bruno Fernandes turned around United season last season?
Um, if you bring in someone like Hussein Mawar, I'll watch Hussein Mawar, just to kind of study his game. People think he's a number 10. He's not a number 10. He's a
Yeah, he is.
kind of like
Yeah,
he's a not exactly like a puck, but he's a Roman number 8. Sometimes he likes to go box to box, but he has the freedom in midfield to kind of do what he wants. He doesn't get a whole lot of assists, but he's a very good passer, has a good passing reach, good vision. For me, Sabasli, I'd rather have Sabasli from sorry, not Leipzig, Salzburg. I just
Salisbury.
think
Yeah,
he's a better player. Maybe not in so much quality wise, but I feel like he has everything that we need. I feel like he plays kind of like Kai Havertz, but not in the same position. If you got him, they both have the same similar build, 6'2", can move around the pitch easily, can dribble, got good control, good vision. I think Sebastian would be the perfect answer. But keep in mind, he's Hungarian. He's coming from a league that's called, a farmers league. It'll take him a very, very, very long time for him to settle down in. But is Arteta the guy to bring him in, wrap his arm around him, say, you know what, I'm gonna make you into a good player. I mean, he's not doing that with Pepe because
yeah,
from what I see, Pepe, he just looks like anytime he comes on, he just like, he's just going through the motions. And he did the same thing with Gondozi. He didn't wrap his arm around him and say, you know what, we're gonna make things work. He just sent him alone. Not my problem anymore. That's what he basically did. So his
yeah.
man management is a bit questionable. He did get some key players to resign, but I just feel like he needs to go off to another team and maybe bring him back a couple of years later. I just feel like he's not ready.
Not ready. So you think even with creativity, introduced in the middle of the park, that doesn't save his season?
It'll give us a chance. But like I said, you know, not only is are we kind of solving our problem, but also you're giving Mikel Arteta another player to work with, another not so much big ego, but you're giving him another. I don't know how to explain. Not another problem, but you give him another another player to work with, and I don't know. I just feel like you can bring in creativity all you want, but the team mentality are they gonna say, you know what, let's roll up our sleeves, let's get top 4? Are they really
Yeah.
gonna do that? Because look at the next games we got. We got Wolves, we got Leeds that are probably gonna play us off the park. They play beautiful football, even though they concede a lot of goals. I mean, I just love to watch them. They play. Who else? We got Tottenham away. Jesus Christ, I don't know.
Yeah, really.
Jesus.
Yeah, the good thing, he's very good. He's a master. He's a master class at playing away games, and
Hmm.
he's not very good at playing at the Emirates Stadium. At this point in time last season, Unai Emery had better points. Actually, had won more games,
Hmm.
more points, and
Hmm.
seeded more goals and scored more than Mikel Arteta. But after his 8th game, he didn't win another game for Arsenal. Almost, in a spell of 7 games, he didn't win another game. Of course, I don't expect Mikel Arteta to do that. But if we are going to let him go, when should we let him go? Should we add him another 5 games, another 10 games? Is it time right now? If you had the decision to take, would you let him go right now after the Aston Villa game? Or would you actually give him some 3, 4, 5 games? Because for me, he's another Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Whenever you feel like he's under pressure, he's gonna win 2, 3 games, and then he comes back, and then
Yeah.
you feel like now you need the rhythm, because after losing at Leicester City, we everybody thought we don't stand a chance against Manchester United. We stood a chance. We beat United with a penalty. Playing so well in the game, dominating the game, and everybody is like, okay, Arteta is back. Now he gets against Aston Villa and he's total crap. He plays boring football. The mentality, the morale, the
Yeah.
chemistry is not there. How many games should we add him? Because for me, I don't want to see another Unai Emery. Honestly, I love Mikel Arteta, but if he's gonna become another Unai Emery, leave everything dismantled. I'll let him go.
Um, after the game, after the Villa game, I was fuming because, you know, I'm having a couple of friends that are Chelsea, got a couple of friends that are Man United. I had to block them real quick. So my head was all over the place, and I think I was being a bit too reactionary. And I said he needs to go tonight. But now that I look at it, I'm gonna say I'll give him the Leeds game. We win the Leeds game, he's all right. If we win the Wolves game, he's all right. But I'm at the point now that if we go to Tottenham and they smack us up 3-1, 4-0, he surely has to go. I'm sorry, he has to go. And all these games I mentioned, by this time we should be talking to other managers. So when we get them in, it's not like we're just throwing them in. You know what I'm saying? So if I'll give him a couple more games, but if all we need to do for him to keep his job is to get a result against Leeds, get a result against Wolves, and get a draw or a win against Tottenham. Because I don't want to be losing to Tottenham twice in a row. That can't happen.
Yeah. I would defend him. I would defend him some point in time. If he was playing good football, I would defend him. His fixture, especially the starting fixture, has not been so easy. Leicester City at home. You have Manchester United away from home. You have Manchester City. You had Liverpool in there. So it hasn't been an easy fixture throughout. So I would defend him if he was playing good football. But for me, when a player plays, when a player gets in that kind of boring football, that kind of football that doesn't have a direction, there is no way you start to defend it, because you don't see that even after the hard fixtures, the team is going to play. Because against Aston Villa, if we had lost 3-0 or 4-0 or 5-0, and we had created chances, we were in their box around all the time. If we were around their box all the time, if we did what we had to do as a big team versus a small team, I would have given him a benefit of the doubt. But there's no way you can give him a benefit of the doubt. He doesn't do the big team thing. He doesn't seem to be a big team manager. I love him so much, and I don't want him to leave. I want him to improve as a manager. But what do you think he needs to improve in that starting lineup? Who should be dropped? Because for me, I think the right wing, especially, it gets exploited so much when we are under attack. I've never believed Bellerin is the best option, but he believes in him. Willian needs to get off that that starting
William is
lineup.
crap. He's such a bad footballer. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
Anytime I
Yeah.
hear him, anytime I see him, I just literally want to take my TV and just dash out the window. He is a Chelsea guy. Bro, this is what I don't understand about Arsenal. He is a Chelsea guy through and through. You do not bring in a Chelsea guy to Arsenal because he couldn't care about Arsenal. The reason why he's staying in London is because him and David Luiz own a restaurant. So he looked at David Luiz and said, "You know what? Can I come to Arsenal and stay in your room?" Left. David Luiz is like, "Yeah, you can come over." That's what it looks like to me. He don't care, bro. He's a Chelsea fans told me about him. He's inconsistent. He's gonna have one good game, then one bad
Yeah,
game. He's just gonna
yeah,
go to shit for the rest of the month. He is not a good footballer. I'm sorry. Yeah, people might say he's good because he's Brazilian. People like Brazilians, but
yeah,
he is just average. He's average for Chelsea, and we are supposed to be a bigger club than Chelsea.
yeah,
If he's not good enough for Chelsea, why is he all of a sudden good enough for Arsenal? I don't understand it. He's so
yeah,
crap. And don't
yeah,
even get me started on Hector Bellerin. Please don't. He is
yeah,
absolutely garbage. Bro, my grandma can defend better than him. He is crap. He's so bad. And this is why I'm kind of happy that Saliba isn't playing. Because most likely, if William Saliba was playing, he would have been playing on the right side, the center back. And what Hector Bellerin does, is that he exposes the right center back. because his
Yeah,
position is so bad. It's worse than Serge Aurier, and Serge Aurier is crap. It's worse than all the other right backs in the league. And it's like I
yeah,
don't know what he's doing. It's that when he runs into the midfield. He doesn't stay and hug the touchline. He's like a weird footballer, and he's not even strong. He's not that quick anymore. Jack Grealish was quicker than him, and he just the
yeah.
way Jack Grealish just pushed him off the ball. It's like you're a right back for Arsenal. You know that, right? And you're getting pushed off the ball by Jack Grealish. It's a disgrace. Disgrace.
You know, and and I thought he was going to use Ainsley Matter now because last season when we were as we were winding up the season, Ainsley was on form. Ainsley was looking good. Ainsley was
Mm-hmm.
playing almost every game. You know, he suddenly drops him after Hector Bellerin survives, going to where PSG or Barcelona or wherever he want. You know, he was going to go. He survives, and then he drops Ainsley, and then he brings on Hector Bellerin, who for me has not done anything this season. He's been exploited by every every winger that has come across him. I don't know. Team selection. That's his biggest problem. Team selection.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have a starting lineup. We have talked about this over and over. As a big team manager, you need to get that starting lineup that gets the chemistry that can run you through a season. But he does, today he uses Elneny, tomorrow he uses Xhaka, then he brings in Ceballos, then he uses Pepe, Saka, Nketiah starts ahead of Lacazette. When Lacazette is on form, you know, if I can ask you just a simple question, why did Gabriel Magalhaes start against Liverpool?
He, I'm sure Mikel Arteta knows that, he's young, but
Yeah,
at the same time, yes, he's young, but he's also our best centre back.
yeah,
And if I know he's just easing in, but even if he never even played a game for us yet, he's still our best centre back. You
yeah,
know, he he on form, he looks like one of the best centre backs in the league. And this might sound like a typical Arsenal fan, but you know, he's come in, he's taken the load. He has somebody like David Luiz to learn off from. I know that sounds ridiculous, but they're both Brazilian. A little connection there. He has Willian, who shouldn't even be here, but he has Gabriel Martinelli as well. He has Cedric right back, who's Portuguese. They both speak the same language. So I mean, I don't know why he didn't start him, but I feel like he would have been hung out to dry anyway. Because Liverpool, Liverpool are a different breed when they get clicking, and I just feel like it probably would have shot his confidence a little bit. But if it's gonna hurt his confidence, why do we get a player that has that kind of weak, mentality? If you know what
yeah.
I'm trying to say, but I don't know why he didn't start him. I don't know why he doesn't start Pepe. He does a lot of questionable things sometimes, but cannot tell. But like I said, he's naive. He's naive. He's just learning on the job. And I said this in a group chat with one of my boys, and I said, Arsenal Football Club, third biggest club in England, top 10 biggest clubs in the world, and we have a manager who's learning on the job. Just let that sink in a little bit. I just feel like it's a joke what's really going on at this club, and I feel like the board are the problem. I do feel like the fan base are a bit of the problem a little bit because we sit there and say, "Oh, Mikel Arteta, oh this and that and third." I just feel like we hype him up so much. We got people like DT. I don't know if you know who DT is, but
Yeah, yes.
AFTV, yeah, saying
Yeah,
that he's the best, saying that he's the best young manager. I just feel like DT. What are you talking about? A couple years ago, he said, he doesn't want Mikel Arteta. Now he wants Mikel Arteta.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I don't understand what's going on. I feel like it's the board as well. The board, they don't have any vision. The board, they went out and got Unai Emery at the time. He did look like he was a good manager, but this club requires a manager that has a lot of experience, a manager that's going to walk into the dressing room, shake it up, demand respect from the players. A manager that needs to drop Bellerin, drop
yeah.
all these bad players. That's what we need right now.
And just to think about it, when Mikel Arteta was coming on us, there were so many managers that actually we were linked with. The first person was Mauricio Pochettino,
Mm-hmm.
who's resurfacing again. We were linked with so many Ancelotti and Allegri and others. Do you think there is there is lack of ambition in the way we select who heads this team? Because just a few weeks, a few months after he's elect, he's, I don't know, appointed manager. He's appointed coach. He's then appointed head manager. It looks like the board is satisfied with whatever he's doing. Do you feel like there is a lot of a lack of ambition somewhere?
I always said, one of my uncles, he's a long-time Arsenal fan. He said something that really stuck with me I think he said a couple years ago. He said Arsenal started to fall when we sold Vieira and when we moved to the Emirates. And I believe that. We started to fall when we moved to the Emirates. And I'm not blaming it on the Emirates. I'm just saying we started to think that we were a huge club. And we are a huge club. But I think the board were like, you know what? We got Arsene Wenger, who at the time was one of the best managers in the world. Got the best striker in the world in Henry. Bergkamp just retired, I think, at that time. Or moved to another club. We got Lindbergh, we got all these players, but we never replaced that captain material. We never replaced that guy to lead us forward. And I feel like that went all the way up to the board. The board, I feel like the board are a disgrace at times. Signing Willian. Like, I can understand signing Willian as kind of like a tutor to Martinelli or something.
Yeah.
Because they're both Brazilian. Maybe they can learn off each other. But to sign him and make him start week in and week out for Arsenal over somebody that you paid $72 million for, I just think that's a disgrace, man. Signing David Luiz. I mean, David Luiz is a good character in the dressing room, but on the pitch, he's the shit, man. What's this? Signing David Luiz. If the board have made ridiculous decisions, the reason why they got Mikel Arteta is because they wanted someone who they can like boss around and say, oh, like if Arteta says he wants this player, they're gonna say, oh wait, let's get that other player because he's cheaper. If you bring in a manager like Mourinho, he's not gonna sit there and accept that. He's gonna be like, no, I want this player. So I think that's why I think the board don't have any kind of ambition. Because keep in mind they gave Arsene Wenger a contract extension after winning the FA Cup. Meanwhile, you can clearly see you got knocked out of your in an embarrassing way, like 10-2 on aggregate. I just feel like they don't know what they're doing. And I feel like they've been there too long.
Yeah, the reason that's why I talked about the board is almost in the past 5 years, in the past 5 years, we are not playing football. We are playing, child's football. But it looks like the same problems that we have been facing are the same problems that are hunting Mikel Arteta, hunting Unai Emery, and were hunting Arsene Wenger. Of course, Arsene Wenger was very unfortunate because he raised talent, he groomed talent, and it was sold off. By then, the club was selling off its best players. Right now, we can bring on some players, some good players, seldom, but then it doesn't look it doesn't look like we're not like Chelsea, because Chelsea feel they want their club. They can spend millions and millions of of money to bring in good players. They look ambitious. They look like we have taken long. They're hungry. We have taken long without winning a trophy. That's what they're doing. But HJ90, welcome to the show, Blood.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm really fine. Let's just talk about this Mikel Arteta out agenda that has come out after losing to Aston Villa. It first cropped up. It first cropped up when we lost to Leicester City. I wanted to do a video about it, but I rejected it. I said, okay, let me first leave it out. But it's now trending. Mikel Arteta out. HJ90. What do you think? I really follow your channel. You are an Arsenal content creator. You think is it time for Mikel Arteta to say goodbye to Arsenal?
Yes, he's out of his depth. I think to sum it up, that's I think we have to say he's not good enough. I think with a squad that can get top 4, but with a manager that doesn't know what he's doing, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, he should leave.
Yeah, hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Oh. So, did you ask a question?
Yeah, I was asking HJ90 whether he thinks Mikel Arteta's time at the club is over.
I think it is. I think it definitely is. I think he's not leading us in the right direction. He's picked up less points in first 8 games than Emery did last season. People are saying he's not got good players. He's got better players than what Emery started with, and I think he has to be getting more out of those players. And we're setting up very negatively against teams like Aston Villa, especially at home, and things like that have to improve. But I think we need a better manager who knows what we're doing, and all this trust the process. I'm not buying into it. It's PR spin, which I don't believe. And yeah, that's my thought.
Yeah, but you know, in the
I'm s-
summer, well, yes, please.
no, you can go. I just wanted to reply to somebody in the chat.
Okay. In the summer, we were very angry with the board because they failed to give us Alsemawa. They had also failed to give us Thomas Partey, and I was still angry with them, although they signed him. We brought in Thomas Partey very late. Almost missing out on him. And I asked myself, if you are going to trigger a release clause of such a player, why do you trigger it so late? Why do you
That's
trigger
true.
it so late?
That's true.
It is true, but right now, should we be looking at Mikel Arteta? Should we be looking
We
at the
should.
boards?
I think no. We should be looking at the manager because if he plays the players in the right positions, if he can get the best out of them, then we can score. We can do better. It's as simple as putting Aubameyang down the middle. Playing with more attacking players in the right positions. Like my front three, I want is Saka, Aubameyang, Pepe, maybe Willian on the number 10. When Martinelli's back, put him on the left, put Saka in number 10. But Arteta's not playing it like that. It's very negative with the way he's playing. He's the attack sacrificed. Maguire's had more shots than Aubameyang and Lacazette this season. This is what we're talking about. Arsenal, in the second half of matches, have attempted fewer shots than any team in England,
Yeah,
down to
yeah,
League Two. That's
Yep, I saw
embarrassing,
that.
full stop. That's down
Ridiculous.
to the manager, not the board.
yeah.
Arsenal Football Club. Wow,
Arsenal Football Club.
that's a
I,
joke.
yeah.
Surely that has to.
It's not a joke.
Yeah, I know. I saw it.
Guys, would you prefer us to be more defensive, like we are under Mikel Arteta, very hard to beat, very hard to score against, defensively solid, of course, excluding the Aston Villa game, or would you prefer us to open up, play an entertaining game, attack like we were under Unai Emery, and then concede more goals? Which is better? Where were we better?
I want a balance. I
Yeah,
want
When
both.
I mentioned it earlier about balance. A good team they have good balance. If you
yeah.
look at Liverpool
I want both.
for
I want the
years.
defensive solidarity
Hmm
and I want the attacking football that Arsenal have always been known for. That's what I want. Arteta's not giving us that. Maybe
Yeah.
he can, but right now he's not giving us that, and we're going in one direction, and that is down.
I
Um.
want to say one thing real quick.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned Martinelli when he comes back from injury. Let's not forget Martinelli was dropped for 2 months when he scored against
That's
I
down
believe
to
it was
Arteta as
Chelsea.
well.
Yep, he was
Gabriel,
dropped for two
here's
months.
another stat.
Mhm.
Gabriel Martinelli. He played so well in January. He got Player of the Month.
Yep.
We didn't see him again until Olympiacos, and he got assist for Aubameyang's overhead kick.
hmm
That's down to Arteta. That's down to the manager, not down to the
Yeah.
board.
But by the way, he also reached the time when he was not giving Gabriel Martinelli enough playing time, and then you felt he was one of the best players he had. Right now, he doesn't include Saliba anywhere in the Europa League, and then he says, "I wish I had included Saliba."
That's down to the manager again.
you know, yeah, that's down to him again. So at times I understand the people driving the agenda, Mikel Arteta out, but the reason as why I wanted to ask you whether you would go for the Unai Emery kind of play or the Mikel Arteta is because he has been compared so much with Unai Emery at this point in time. Unai Emery was better, but the coming games, the next fixtures, Unai Emery was total shit. Actually, he failed. He failed. Whatever he had done, that is when it ended. I think he went 8, 9 games, without a win.
hmm
For us, and everybody was
Toxic
extremely.
atmosphere.
Emery at this time, if we had Emery at this time, we would be a little bit higher in points, in goals scored. Um, are you disappointed by Mikel Arteta? I want to ask you this as as fans. Are you disappointed with Mikel Arteta, or you just feel he's not taking us anywhere?
Wait, who should go first? Me or him?
I
Yeah,
think he's
nothing
done
else.
some things right, but I think we're
Okay.
still not going in the overall right direction. Like
No.
Arteta's given us that defensive side of it. Emery gave us that attacking side of it. We need a balance of both, which we're not getting.
I
Okay.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree, but I just want to say he kind of talked himself up. I'm talking about McKellar here. He kind of talked himself up a bit too much because I remember in the first interview, December when he first got the job, he was like, "Oh, I want to play attacking football. I don't want to think about the opponent." And I'm just thinking, you're new to this job. You know how it's not going to be easy to get a players to all attack, like play proper football. It's not going to work that quickly. If you get what I'm trying to say. And I just want to respond to somebody like in the comments. They said, you can't be a McAllister out after losing one match. This is not an opinion that formed over one match. I've been seeing this for a while now. Ever since the season started, and even we should have, like, if we talk about the FA Cup, we should have even lost the FA Cup. We should even be in the final in the first place. You want to know why? Because we had 2 goals disallowed. Well, not we. Sheffield United had 2 goals.
Sheffield United, true,
Yep.
so true.
We should have lost that game. McGoldrick, the geezer, bro. This McGoldrick guy for Sheffield United, he's so shit. He only scored like 2 goals, 2 goals all season. He turns up against Arsenal, scores a goal. Like how does that? We should have been knocked out. They had 2 goals disallowed, so we shouldn't even be there in the first place. Yes, the win over Man City was good, but if Pulisic never pulled his hamstring, we would have been out. You think we would score another goal? Hell
Yeah.
no. We would have lost. So it's fine margins. It's fine margins in football, and that's what it is. It's crazy.
So you guys are actually, you feel Mikel Arteta is just not enough for us, but not disappointed. For me, the truth is, when we were bringing in Mikel, I never rated him at any point in time. I never rated him because I knew he's a manager that was not actually having an experience. When he comes in, he does his thing. He does his thing. I'm like, okay, I'm impressed, but can how long can you do this? But it looks, he has reached the end of the tunnel. Before we knew it, we thought he was going to continue doing all these miraculous things. Let me ask you this honestly: does he have the tools to do the job? Starting with HG90, do you think he has the tools to do the job?
Yeah, this is the last thing I was saying. I need to jump off. I'm on mobile data.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. Look, he didn't get back in the transfer window. I gave it a 5 out of 10. I thought he needed a war, but I think Arteta can get best things out. I think he has the tools there. With the players, I think we have a squad that can get top 4, but I think we just don't have a manager capable of getting the best out of those players. But the tools are there for now.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
It's okay, Vlad. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
All right. So AJ90 says Arteta has the tools for the job. He's not using them. What do you think, Nathaniel? Is he having the tools, not using them, or the players he has are average, abysmal, predictable, poor quality, not fit? What do you think? Because at times it's not really, even the players he fields on the pitch are Arsenal players. They can deliver the job. Are they bad, or he's not ready and well equipped to get the best out of them?
Like I said earlier in the stream, he's played with some of these players like Elneny, Ozil, Bellerin. It's the players and him, just like it was the players and Wenger, just like it was the players and Emery. Because the same players have been here. They've been getting worse and worse and worse, and that kind of comfortable mindset that these players have. It's just you need to get some of these players out. Like Bellerin, why is he still here? I'm asking a question. Like, why is he still here? Like, I don't understand what he really brings. I know he hasn't been terrible this season in terms of stat wise, but I use my eyes. He's crap. his positioning is just not there. You got players like Ozil, who he was very good back in the day. You can't deny that. But now he's finished. You have to move these players on. Socrates, why is he still here? He needs to be moved off the wage bill. Mustafi, why is he still here? These players, like, why are they still at the football club? It's the players and the manager at the same time. I think I say 65% Arteta and then the other percent the players. I feel like you can get these players playing decent football, but it's not sustainable because they're all weak and they have no type of, they don't have that elite mindset with some of these players. And that's why we lost 4-1 in the final. We could have made Champions League and we lost 4-1. That just goes to show that some of these players, they care about. I'm sure they do care about, but they don't have that kind of mindset to come out every week and say, you know what, we're going to get 3 points. They don't have that mindset.
What's your best 11? The best 11 you would pick this season. I think we have had this, almost forever on this channel, and many people have chosen their best 11s. Some people have dropped Pepe, others have dropped Saka, others have dropped, Granit Xhaka. What is your best 11, and do you think we can survive without Granit Xhaka? Because it seems we have already started seeing how we can be exploited with him off the pitch.
Well, are you saying that Granit Xhaka is important to the squad? Like, do you think do you think we really need him to, win the league?
Xhaka, I think if you have Partey, I think you don't need a lot of, you don't need the services of Granit Xhaka if you're not playing a defensive game. But if you are playing a defensive game, then Granit Xhaka is a must. Is a must to have on the pitch.
My best 11. I just want to talk on Granit Xhaka, then I move on to the best 11. I might just feel like it'll be better for him to move on because I feel like it's 50-50 with the fan base. Some people love him, some people don't. Ripping the armband off. I know a lot of people talk about this, but you can't rip the armband off and expect to still be at the club. If I was Emery, I would have just literally released him from the contract. You can't do that. That's unacceptable. Back in the day with, great players like Tony Adams, Lee Dixon, they would have took him to the dressing room and just hung him up by his shirt and just started punching him. Like, you can't do that. It's disrespectful, but I just feel like he's not that great. I feel like he's not mobile enough. I feel like he's not quick enough. He doesn't really read the game that well. He's very limited. I just feel like we'd be better without him. You have players like Mendoza that can pick up the ball, at least drive with it. I just feel like Granit Xhaka, he's stiff. I don't know how to explain it. He's like stiff, if you get what I'm trying to say. To the best 11 part, I think goalkeeper, Leno, you can say whatever you want about Leno, but for me, he's a good shot stopper, but he's not very good with the ball at his feet. I think Martinez is I think he's slightly better than him. Right back up.
You think Martinez is better than Leno?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think on the right back, I'll probably go either Ainsley or Cedric Suarez. Right center back, I do want to put Saliba there, but I just feel like he's young, he's naive, coming to a new country. I feel like you have to ease him in. So on the right, I'll probably go with Rob Holding. I know he's been a bit iffy. I know he's been a bit, inconsistent, but you have to put him in. He's the best we got. Left side, obviously Gabriel. Back up to Gabriel can be Pablo Mari. I think he's decent. Left side, Kieran Tierney. We can promote a left back from the academy. We don't need to put Kolasinac there. I think Kolasinac is finished. What formation? Should we stick with the formation like double pivot?
I think we can play a 4-2-3-1 or something like a 4-3-3.
I'll just play with a double pivot and a number 10.
Okay.
Double pivot, I'll put I put Ceballos and I put Partey. I put Partey because he speaks multiple languages, um, speaks Spanish fluently. I put Danny Ceballos because he can stick a foot in. If you tell him to track back, he'll track back. I don't think he's that great, but at the same time, they can do a lot worse than Ceballos. He's the least of our worries. Number 10, I'll either put Willian there. I know I'm kind of contradicting myself,
I
but
know, I know.
either Willian or Saka. Um, if you want to put Ozil back in, I mean, you can try that, but we've done that plenty of times. It doesn't do anything. Um, Left side, you can put Saka there. They can switch. Like when I'm saying that, Willian can play number 10, and then mid game he can switch to the left. If you get what I'm trying to say. But ideally, left side you can put Martinelli there. On the right, Pepe, Reece Nelson, or Willian. But probably I want it to be Pepe because you pay 72 million for him. He has to play. You don't pay 72 million for a player unless you're like City or Barcelona and just have him sitting on the bench waiting. You have to play him. And up top, I'll probably put um, Aubameyang. Up top, Aubameyang. If like I said doesn't want to play a bench role, then you can sell him. Get somebody like Edouard from Celtic or um, Daka from Salzburg.
Or
And yeah, that's
Erling Haaland, 75 million.
bro. There's a higher chance I play for Arsenal than him.
Yeah.
Um, um, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Uh, you know, I had someone say that with the best players in their best positions, Arsenal could actually win the league. And I was like, what
Oh
is that
no,
best?
no, 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 no,
I,
no, no,
you
no,
know,
no. I gotta
that
shut
that
that down real quick.
I
No,
know.
no, no.
Yeah,
Maybe we can have a chance of top four, but winning the league, I'm not too sure about that. No, no.
Glenn, welcome to the show, Blind.
Hi man, how are you?
I'm okay. I missed your. I really wanted to come on your show, reviewing Arsenal's fight eight, first 8 games. I really wanted to come on that show, but I never got an opportunity. But here we are. The 8 games we have played this season, lost 4 wins though. There is an agenda going forward. Mikel Arteta out, and many Arsenal fans feel like it's time up. What he's done, and he's not going to take us anywhere. Do you feel any different from that? People with that agenda.
Yeah, of course. I've been hearing Nathaniel and HJ90 talking, and when you hear Arsenal podcasts, you just feel depressed because everyone is so down and all that. But for me, if you look at the stats, HJ90 came with the stats about Arsenal having the fewest shots in the second half. But this year, from January, before we lost to Leicester, we had 0 defeats at the Emirates Stadium before the Leicester game, so we were undefeated at home. Last season, we were scoring goals. We scored 2 away to Chelsea. We scored 4, I think, at home to Newcastle before lockdown. So for me, I look at it like this. This season, he's been forced to play defensively because he didn't get the players he wanted in the transfer window, because there's no reason why we were scoring goals in June and July, and then all of a sudden in September we are not scoring goals and we had the same players. So I look at it like he wanted some players and he did get them, and he has realized we are so poor defensively and we have to defend. These games we've lost this season, Liverpool away, we did lose that game last season. Man City away, we also lost that game last season. Leicester at home, we didn't beat them last season. And Aston Villa, they also beat us last season. So the only difference is because we faced all 4 teams at the start of the season. But I understand that people want us to score goals. I also want us to score goals. But I'm pretty sure people also don't want to lose 4-0 to Man City. People also don't want to lose 4-0 to Liverpool. So this Aston Villa is just one game out of nowhere. Of course, no one wants to lose that game 3-0, but that game came from nowhere. But of course, you still need to give him time. As I said, we were still unbeaten at the Emirates Stadium. Last season, we were scoring goals. I know this season Aubameyang hasn't gotten the chances, but that is the only place I wouldn't agree with him. I want Aubameyang to play as a striker.
So one person, joining me for Mikel Arteta in. I still believe in him. There's so many people in the chat. They feel like it's time up for Mikel Arteta. But Glenn, like Nathaniel, we must agree that there are points where Mikel Arteta has gone wrong. Where has he disappointed you? Where do you feel like you're behind him, but he has disappointed you in in some areas? Where are those disappointments that you think are crucifying him, and he's creating the mistakes himself?
Number one is the substitutions. Sometimes
Eddie Nketiah for Lacazette all the time. I mean, it's like written in the Bible.
Yeah, and then even if Lacazette was playing how poorly the other day, we were still 1-0 behind. I wouldn't have taken Lacazette off and probably Willian off. Just keep them in. I know they were playing poorly, but I would probably have just changed something. Take out one defender, bring in a midfielder or a striker, and just go for it. Because if you take out Lacazette and you bring in Nketiah, it's just basically the same thing. You might as well just left Lacazette inside for him to miss the chances, because Nketiah didn't really. He was being bullied off the ball with those defenders. And number two is probably playing Aubameyang on the left every time. I know it worked last season, but this season we can clearly see. And even, people want Lacazette to be dropped for Aubameyang as a striker, but against City, he didn't even play Lacazette, but we had Willian as a striker. That is the day I was like, what the hell are you doing? Willian as a striker?
I know.
He was playing a false nine like Roberto Firmino, something like that.
Yeah, that day. So there's no guarantee that if Lacazette gets dropped, Aubameyang will be there. Maybe we'll have Nketiah. I don't know how Nathaniel feels. So what if Lacazette is dropped today? Will you be happy if Nketiah is the one who's bought in?
I remember the Wolves away game, but he dropped Lacazette. Lacazette came off the bench, and he completely just absolutely. I don't know who that center back was for Wolves, but he set him back to wherever he came from. He is an impact sub. Even for Leon, he came off the bench at certain points, and he did well. He's one of those guys that he's gonna come in, he's gonna give you the energy. Maybe 70 minutes into the game, you're losing or you're drawing. You need another goal threat. And this is what I'm saying. As a manager, you have to know when to manage your players. Lacazette went 9 games without a goal. He scores a goal, gets dropped. What? I still to this day I don't understand it. But it just seems like he's so against playing Ubba down the middle. And I know Ubba doesn't hold up the ball, but what he does is that he likes to run in behind. So you have to play to his strengths. This is not like a striker that only scores 10 goals a season. This is our main man. If Aubameyang gets injured, what a mid-table team. I mean, we are a mid-table team now, but we're worse. Well, we're out. So you have to find a way to play with him. Because what if Lacazette goes out? What if Nketiah goes out? Then you have to play him down the middle, unless he's going to play Willian. But I'm sure Arteta is not that stupid to do that. So you have to play him down the middle. You have to play him in behind. That's his best position if you want him to succeed.
Glenn, apart from playing Aubameyang down, through the left, and failing to play him in the middle when we are not creating chances, when we need a player who can, finish off at least one of the two chances we are creating. Any other disappointments? Pepe playing on the pitch, being on the bench, Saliba out of the pitch. Do you think those are some of the qualification reasons qualifying for his scrutinizing right now?
Now, until I saw Willian playing poorly the last few games, I actually couldn't make an argument of Pepe starting ahead of Willian. I think they've been the same. There's a time Pepe comes in on the pitch and he annoys people, like the way he dribbles. I always tell you, there's no guarantee that if Pepe starts ahead of Willian, will get goals. Yes, it started improving the last few games, and he tries, but all those shots Pepe takes, all of them go off target, all of them, same as El Neni. So there's no guarantee that he'll come and change the game. But now, since we've seen Willian playing so poorly, you can make an argument for Pepe starting. Another thing is Tierney. I don't like him as a centre back. I want him as the left back or left wing back, even if you play a back three, because his crosses are very, very nice. Maybe the other player I would say maybe, Aubameyang. Even if Aubameyang starts up front, yes, I know he can take some of those chances that Lacazette is missing, but again, there's no guarantee that we'll still score goals if Aubameyang is the center, because we struggle very much to transition that ball from defense to front. So even Aubameyang can still play as a striker and we still struggle to create chances. He needs to get the balance in midfield to see which three midfielders will work for us.
So Glenn, you are just like me. I feel Mikel Arteta is disappointing me at some point in a point in time, but he's not the overall problem. In your lens, in your eyes, what's the problem? Where is that biting? Where is that loose pin that we need to, just tighten up this season so that we can have a good season? Otherwise, if we win one, lose one, win one, lose one, we might just get, crowned mid-table team before we know it.
I still feel like the players are poor. That's the problem. I asked on my show early. I asked Lee, even if we had Guardiola right now, or the Atalanta coach, Atalanta scores a bunch of goals, or the Ajax coach, or the guys who score 13 goals in one game, will we actually score goals? Will that actually change anything for us? I don't think so, because some of the players we have are still terrible. Like, even if you give Guardiola Kolasinac on the left, I think I had Nathaniel saying Cedric on the right. I'll come back to that. If you have people we have 10 defenders and 9 of them are poor. That is why he's being forced to play a back five, just in case one of them makes a mistake. There's 4 of them behind him. Mustafi is poor. Kolasinac is poor. Sokratis is poor. Cedric is poor. Go ahead, Nathaniel.
Wait, what are we saying?
I'm talking about the defenders being poor. So I had, like you said, Cedric should be in the starting lineup if I'm not wrong.
I said that it can either be Cedric or Maitland-Niles. I think I did say Maitland-Niles or Cedric, but I do understand what you're saying about the defense being, bad. But my problem isn't really with the back three. My problem is more that we're not being courageous enough in games. Like that Man City game, we could have equalized that game. There was no need to lose it. I mean, you can at least see, you can attack. And if we go down by another goal, at least we can come out of the game and say, you know what, we had to go. But we just sitting there like we're Burnley or something, or one of these relegation type of teams. Just sit back, keep the score low. Like, what's going on with Arsenal? Are we like Crystal Palace, that we just sit there and park the bus all game? Even Crystal Palace, when they park the bus, they still manage to score. I just feel like in these kind of Man City type games, if Man City are getting tired, that means, okay, let's attack. Let's practice what we're doing in the training ground. I looked at that game and I was like, what are we doing? It just looks like we're getting the ball and just attacking and just hoping that it flies into the net. It just looks like it looks like nonsense. That's what it looks like to me. And I feel like, yeah, you can play a back 4, you can play a back 3, but if you look at all the other teams, like you mentioned, Atalanta, their manager, they play good football. But one thing with them is that they can see a lot of goals. For me, I want him to. He's been in the job for a year now. I want him to find the balance. If he can't find the balance, then let him go to another club. Arsenal just need to sit him down, say, you know what, we're gonna, you should go manage another club, and then maybe a couple of years time you can come back when you feel ready. For me, I just feel like he's not ready. It's too early for him. The job, the pressure is just too much on him.
So would you be happy if we brought in another manager today and we went to City, we scored 3 goals, but we conceded 6?
No, that's not. That's completely the opposite of what I just said. I just said that I want to see better football. Yes, it's good to be defensive, but defensively, solid. But also, it has to be a right balance. You have to know when to attack. You have to know when to defend. I just feel like we just go too defensive. We haven't scored a goal from open play in 5 Premier League games.
Yeah, I'm happy.
I also think we can concede 6 under Mikel Arteta. Look at Villa. They just they didn't take all of their chances. They just didn't. If they had taken all of their chances, probably it should have been a 5-0. It should have been a 4-0, or a 4-1 or something. So I won't be shocked if someone spanks us 5 or 6. if Tottenham spunk us 6, I won't be really surprised because they have a very good attack. They have Bell, they have Son, they have they have Kane. They are on fire. So for me, defensive wise, I think we have not got someone to exploit us. And Aston Villa, that's what they did. They showed us that even if you're 8-9 players behind the ball, we can exploit you. And they scored beautiful goals past us. I don't think it is a good reason enough for Mikel Arteta to say, I'm preventing the team from conceding, because as soon as you concede 3, that's already humiliating. 3 from Aston Villa, it's already humiliating. So for me, it's not one of the reasons as to why I back him up, because he's protecting us defensive wise. I think he needs to get the courage to go forward. What do you think, Glenn?
Yeah, of course. I'm okay with him doing that away from home. That's what I was trying to tell Nathaniel. I'm okay with him doing that away to Man City. That's fine if he's playing defensively away to Man City, because we've complained about conceding 6, 5, 4 goals to Man City every single season. But the attack at home, when you're playing West Brom, Sheffield, I don't want us to score 1 goal every game against those teams. So he needs to probably be bold in the formation. Like, don't play a back 3 at home. And instead of playing El Neni, Xhaka and Partey or something like that, and then you also have Tierney, you still have Bellerin and Niles in the team. No, bring in, put Saka, put Pepe, put Aubameyang, and even put Lacazette, like start a front 2, like 4-4-2 or something. Just create chances and score those goals. The other worrying thing is that we've been creating some chances, but we've been missing them, like 90% of those chances. So you can't blame him for that, because as I always say, in the last 6 years, if you check the top 10 strikers in terms of goals, Lacazette and Aubameyang are in the top 10 alongside Lewandowski, Messi, and those kind of players. So it's worrying to see Lacazette missing those chances. So if he gets dropped, I'm sure he already knows that we are struggling for goals. But last season, we had conceded more goals than we have this season. But of course, last season, we had scored more than we have this season. So he has to get the correct balance. And if he does, I think we can still be hopeful, but you can't say he needs to go today. Any manager will come. This team is not good enough still.
Yeah. Of course, I'm not part of the agenda, Mikel Arteta out, but I want to listen to everybody. Like, I want to listen to everyone. But let's talk about Pochettino, because he's one of the people knocking on the door at City, at Manchester United, and eventually at Arsenal, because we have a little hiccup with Mikel Arteta. Nathaniel gave me his thoughts on Mauricio Pochettino, but I want to ask you, Nathaniel, if we brought in Pochettino, would we see 100% change?
If you bring in Pochettino, it's a bit sticky because he's never won anything. And the players looking at that, he's gonna like, oh, we got a manager that's never won anything. But see the thing with Pochettino, when he came into Tottenham, let me go back. When he came into Southampton, they finished 8th. Tottenham said, you know what, he's the guy to lead us forward. They brought him in. You see that big stadium Tottenham got? They would not have that if Mauricio Pochettino was not the manager. Mauricio Pochettino brought belief to Tottenham. Tottenham are a decent sized club. They're not bigger. No way they're bigger than Arsenal, but they were like a mid-table club their whole history. So just think about it. He came in. Let's say it's West Ham. He came in, made them top 4 regulars. Yes, he's never won anything, but just listen to what I'm saying. He took a club like Tottenham, let that sink in, Tottenham, and made them Champions League regulars. He made them so big to the point where they missed out on the Champions League and their fans were disappointed. He made that football club what it is today. Even though they haven't won anything, he has brought belief to that football club. Now imagine what he can do at Arsenal if we back him a little bit. Look what he did with Dele Alli. Dele Alli, what? At most, he was what? Half a million pound footballer. Now if you want to buy him, you're gonna have to pay a lot of money. I know he hasn't been good over the past season, but look what he's done to him. Look what he's done to Harry Kane. Harry Kane was supposed to, when Pochettino came in, Harry Kane was just one of those good young strikers that had some kind of talent. Now look at him. He's probably one of the best. I don't want to say the best because I'm an Arsenal fan, but he's probably one of the best strikers in the world right now. And if you look at people like Heung-min Son, look at people like Sissoko. Sissoko was crap. at Newcastle. Look what he's doing. Now he's getting a consistent performance on him. You look at, you can say he can go to Man United. Why would he come to Arsenal? Let's not forget, Tottenham sacked him. They say you're not good enough anymore. They sacked him. It's not like he owns Tottenham anything. So he can come in, or you can take a player, or you can take a manager like Rafa. But for me, I just feel like Pochettino, he's slightly younger. He has experience. He's been to a final, even though he hasn't won anything. Like I said, he makes the players believe in his system. He takes players and makes them into, if not world class, he turns them into really, really good players for the Premier League. I just feel like he really changed this football club. And even though some fans might, look at him weird because he managed at Tottenham, he's the guy that can come and make the change.
Pochettino is resilient and can work on a budget. I think he was staying on a small budget. He develops and grows players and plays progressive. That is Glinch, and that's where I want to bring in Glenn. Glenn, Pochettino, resilient, works on a small budget, develops players, grows talents, progressive manager. Are you attracted? Is he the right man for the job? Would you settle with him after Mikel Arteta?
I want to come back to that point Nathaniel has said. He said something very, very, very good. Imagine what he would do at Arsenal if they back him. Imagine what Arteta can do at Arsenal if they back him. Now, Arteta hasn't been backed enough at Arsenal. We know that. And yes, and he also said that he's not won a trophy at Tottenham. And Arteta has done that with a very mediocre squad in the space of a few months. So again, there's no guarantee that he can come to Arsenal and make everything happen, and Arteta can't do that. Why are people believing that Pochettino can come and do everything all at once? Is it because we've lost 3-0 to Aston Villa and that's it? Because I don't understand it. Yes, he can bring some quality football that he used to have at this. I think it was Espanyol, Southampton, Tottenham, a bit of it. And yes, he trusts the youth, which Arteta does too. Maybe belief in man management can be better than Arteta, something like that maybe, but there's no guarantee for me, man. I wouldn't sack Arteta right now to bring in Pochettino. I wouldn't be that quick in doing that, He was at Tottenham since 2014 and never won anything.
I agree with Glenn saying, if you do back Arteta, maybe we can do something. Keep in mind, this is still his first job. A lot of managers, look at Frank Lampard. He went to the division below. He went to Derby. I just feel like Mikel Arteta, he seems like, and I don't dislike Mikel Arteta. Like, the one thing I want him to do is succeed at Arsenal, because I like Mikel Arteta. The way he talks about football, you can tell that he's trying to understand football. He's learning every day. And that is the problem that I have with him, is that he's learning on the job. An Arsenal manager, I'm sorry, this club is too big to have a manager learning on the job. Yeah, you can maybe say Arsene Wenger kind of learned on the job because he came from Japan, but he was at Monaco before he went to Japan. So he had some kind of experience at a decent level. The most Arteta has done is managed one game at City, and that is when what's his name? Pep got a red card in the game before, and he lost that game. So he needs time to learn and to find out what type of football he wants to play. You don't learn what type of football you want to. You don't learn what type of football you want to play at a club like Arsenal, because Arsenal needs immediate fixing. Like I said, this is one of the hardest jobs to take in world football, along with the Barcelona job, along with the Manchester United job. We are a big club, and we deserve to have some type of. And like I said, I don't hate Mikel Arteta. I would like Mikel Arteta to come back in a couple of years' time, go to a team in La Liga, build them up so you can see what's really going on, and then maybe you can come back and start again. But for now, we should just, if it's not working, just let him go. Just let him go, and then let him learn somewhere else. And he, as a person, if he feels like he's ready to come back to Arsenal, then yeah, he can come back to Arsenal. He feels like he's learned a lot about himself and what type of football that he wants to play. But because right now it just looks like Emery all over again. Because if you look at Emery's last 28 games and Arteta's first 28 games, the stats, it's not like Arteta blows him out of the water. The stats are similar. It's similar. So if we sacked Emery because of that, are we just gonna leave Arteta into a job because we're saying it's a process? Come on, like where's Southampton's process? They're like third in the league or whatever. Where's their process? Where's Tottenham's process? The second in the league. Where's Leicester City's process? The second in the league. I'm not gonna blame Arteta for everything. Like I said, it's the board. The board are a disgrace. The players are a disgrace, and this whole football club has been this disgraceful over the past couple of years. Just the stuff that they've been doing. I think the board have hung Arteta out to dry, but I also think Arteta is not ready at the same time.
Yeah, Glenn, so much from Nathaniel, but very interesting points there from him. I don't blame Mikel Arteta for everything. Like you said, the board. I blame the board. I blame so much. You said we need the backing and so on, but do you see a future in Mikel Arteta? When you see him on the touchline, when you see his kind of football, when you look at all the aspects of Arsenal under Mikel Arteta, do you see a future? Do your instincts feel there is a future for us under Mikel Arteta?
Yes, I've always felt that since we beat Man U 2-0 in January and then came back away to Chelsea with 10 men, won the FA Cup. Of course, I felt that, and I still feel that right now, because at least what we always screamed of when we had Wenger is a manager who can be on the touchline and be part of the game throughout. He shows me that every game, and he is Arsenal. He's played for Arsenal. So I know what Nathaniel is saying about learning on the job. Of course, we've been patient for too long. So how long more can we be patient waiting for people to make things happen? But that is not the manager's fault. That is the players we have. The reason we couldn't get rid of Socrates is because there's no one who wants to buy him. The reason why you couldn't get rid of Kolasinac is the same reason. No team wants to buy those players. We are stuck with Ozil. Ozil's problem for me is not even Arteta. Even last season, there's so many things Ozil was involved with, Turkey and Germany, something like, I think something with the Chinese people and something. All that is not Arteta's problem. So for me, I still feel like he can do something, of course, and he's not even learning. It's not like it's me or you, Cozy, going to coach Arsenal today. He's been a coach for the last 5 years with Guardiola, and he knows the Premier League well. He's been there since 2004. He understands the Premier League, so he can definitely make things happen for sure. The next 4 games, I'm hoping he has learned from what we've seen in the last 4 games. The worrying part is that, yes, since the last international break, we actually didn't score a goal apart from the penalty against Man U. And that is because he was going too defensive, especially at home. So those next games where we have Leeds away, Wolves at home, then Burnley home, Southampton home, Tottenham away, I want to see how we play at home to Burnley. Will we still win 1-0 or 0-0, something like that? Then if we go through these 5 games and we won one of those 5 games, then I'll be concerned. I'll be like, what is going on? And also Nathaniel says the last 28 games of Emery and the first 28 games of Arteta. But that is the point. Those were the last 28 games of Emery. He had already been there. These are the first 28. So let's give him the next 28 and see how he does in the next 28.
If he doesn't win his next 4 fixtures, next 5 fixtures, if he doesn't get a win, would you still keep up with him, Glenn?
The next 4 fixtures, I wouldn't mind if we didn't win away to Tottenham, because either way we never win there anyway with 4 different managers.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we won there, because he's done that against United at the Old Trafford for 10 years.
Yeah, the thing is, these games that we have in the next 4-5 games, again, these games we didn't even win them. Again, we've never beaten Wolves at home these 2 seasons they've been in the league. I think we've drawn both. Again, away to Tottenham, we've lost both, I think. Burnley at home, that is a game you're supposed to win. Southampton, as I think I had Nathaniel talking about Southampton earlier, last season we drew that game. So yes, I'm expecting us to beat these teams. I want Aubameyang to get involved in the goal scoring. I want us to create more chances. I want the transition to be faster in midfield. I also want to see how it does when we have Pablo Mari back, Martinelli back in the team. I know last year there's a time Martinelli sat on the bench for a couple of games when he was fit. I want to see how he does this time round because some really, really important fixtures coming up.
So four games down the road, he doesn't get a win. You would give him another 5 games.
Yes, I would. That's when now we're going to play Burnley, Southampton, Everton, City, Chelsea. I think, I would give him until January.
Until January. Nathaniel, so you should know on the panel you have someone who keeps Mikel Arteta until January. I don't want to see him out, but in the next 15 points, if he doesn't collect at least 10, I'm going to lose it out with him. He should collect the 10 points out of the coming 15. But if you're going to tolerate him, Nathaniel, how long would that be?
Sorry if you hear like something in the background, but I see a lot of people on Twitter. I see a lot of Arsenal fans saying that they was sacking tonight. See me. I'm not too sure where I stand on this, but like I said, these next couple of games are probably going to be his most important games of his. If I was to board, these games will be his most important games of his short Arsenal career. So if he does not, let's say he goes to Leeds, draws against Leeds or loses against Leeds, his job will be on the line. I'm sorry, I like Mikel Arteta. I really want him to do well, but his job will be on the line. If he goes to Tottenham, gets absolutely destroyed, he has to go. He has to go. Also, you're just accepting it. You're accepting us losing. And I'm not saying that Glenn is accepting us lose. I'm just saying that, that means your expectations are slowly getting down. Because we went from being in the FA Cup final, winning a trophy, to what? If we lose any of those games, that means we're probably going to have the same amount of wins and losses, or more losses than wins. Because let's think about it. Leeds are a good team, but they're not Barcelona. They might play like Barcelona, but they're not Barcelona. They don't have Barcelona players. Wolves are a tough team. We have to get a result against them. And then going into Tottenham, this is a big game. You do not go to Tottenham and lose. We need to go to Tottenham and say, you know what? We're going to have a game plan. We're going to switch it up if it doesn't work. I don't want to see Bellerin start. I don't want to see these bang average players start. Yeah, you can say Bellerin, oh, he loves Arsenal, he loves this, but I love Arsenal too. Am I good enough to play for Arsenal? No. So he needs to be dropped. And I just feel like these next couple of games, he needs to get results out of all of them. Maybe I don't know. It depends how I feel going into the Tottenham game. But if he goes to the Tottenham game and gets absolutely embarrassed, he has to go.
Arsenal content is always interesting. Arsenal news is always interesting. But today, Nicola Pepe has come out and admitted that yes, he is not happy with Mikel Arteta. This is written all over. I'm just looking at it and I'm like, so many headlines written. Nicolas Pepe admits Arsenal frustration as Ghana's forward sends message to Mikel Arteta. Nicolas Pepe not happy after Mesut Ozil warning. Nicolas Pepe admits he's not happy at Arsenal under Mikel Arteta. Frustrated Nicolas Pepe hits out on boss Mikel Arteta over lack of playing time. Nicolas Pepe admits Arsenal frustrations in Swipe. There are so many headlines. Written around Nicolas Pepe. And I know you guys must be informed about this at this point in time. Glenn, is Mikel Arteta losing out on his dressing room? I thought before we knew it, Mikel Arteta should have known it. I think Pepe should have talked to the manager. He should have talked to the manager either through his agent or directly. I feel the age gap is not so big, so he can talk to him. Is he losing his dressing room, or this is a wrong decision from Nicola Pepe?
If he is, I'd be very, very surprised. 2 months ago, everyone was very happy when we were winning that FA Cup. Ceballos was crying. He wanted to come back to Arsenal because of Arteta. Willian wanted to join Arsenal because of Arteta. Aubameyang wanted to stay at Arsenal because of what Arteta had told him. So I don't think he's losing any of those players. I think for me, it looks like him and Ozil still get along. I feel like it's not his decision to bench him because they were friends in the team. So I don't understand why he would want to kick him out of the team. So for me, I was if that is true, what the news is reporting, I'd be disappointed in Pepe because you need to go to Arteta and tell him why you're not happy and not outside there because we have so many problems already with the Ozil. We have injury problems at Arsenal. We have we are not scoring enough goals, all these problems. And then we even have a problem with our mascot. So all these problems, and then you throw in another problem like that, it just brings more problems and more problems. So why not just go to Arteta? I understand why he would be annoyed. But for me, as I've said, I didn't think Pepe actually performed well in the first few games too. Like he was just the same as Willian. He was performing very poorly, not giving 100%. So I'd be disappointed in Pepe. And for me, he's not losing the dressing room because just a few months ago, everyone wanted to join Arsenal because of Arteta and the players wanted to stay because of him. Everything looked very, very, excuse the pun, everything looked very cozy.
Yeah. Nathaniel, last season we saw a couple of incidents. Granit Xhaka throwing down our Arsenal jersey, the beautiful, mighty jersey. He throws it down. He's captain. Christ's sake, he was captain. It was because of frustration. That's one of the reasons why he stayed at the club, because the mood, everyone was frustrated at the club, and everybody understood understood him from that point of view. Mikel Arteta comes in, he becomes one of the best players, and all of us are like, okay, maybe Xhaka was frustrated. Now Pepe is the first player to show frustration. Do you think this frustration is going to grow in the Arsenal side, or you think it's just a wrong decision taken by Nicola Pepe? It's not affecting Arsenal, and it's not showing any inside pressure or frustration, behind the scenes?
I won't go as far as to saying, oh, he's losing the dressing room, because we're not there yet. Hopefully, we will never be there.
Yeah.
And at that point, but I just feel like we spent. Maybe you can say we overspent, but keep in mind, think about all the great African players we've seen: Essien, Drogba, Torre, the other Torre, Kolo Torre. He's the most expensive African player in history. You can say we overpaid for him, but we spent 72.
I think Napoli. Napoli are both.
Osimhen.
Yeah.
He's the second though. You don't spend 72 million and then have him sit on the bench.
Yeah.
You can say maybe he doesn't play well in games, but like I said, if you watch the I think it was the game against Molde in the Europa League last week, he was average the game, and then all of a sudden he turns up, gets in the sits and a goal. That's what it is. That's how it is with a lot of these attackers, and I just feel like he might lose faith in Arteta, but Arteta is coming out with things like, oh, he should get more consistency out of him. But the only way to get consistency out of somebody is if you play them. You know what I mean? So if he's coming off the bench every week, what is that going to do with his confidence? Same thing with Lacazette. Even though Lacazette maybe might not be good enough, anytime he scores, he keeps on getting benched. So in a player's head, even if you look at Joe Willock, he's a young one. He's 21. If you're not going to play him, just send him out on loan because he's starting his career. You're stopping him from developing. So if he scores a goal, like Pepe, in his head, he must be thinking, if I score a goal, I'm not going to be playing next week anyway, so why should I even bother?
Okay. Nothing is as interesting as Arsenal jazz. Like I told you, for me, this years I've seen Arsenal, nothing is as interesting as Arsenal jazz. Mikel Arteta out, Mikel Arteta in. I'm just going to ask these two guys one simple question. We leave it at that. And see, of course, obviously, Mikel Arteta is not going to be sacked. And I didn't say that Mikel Arteta has been sacked or Arsenal is in contact with anyone. Quote me right. I just said there is an agenda on social media, in the media, around everywhere around that Mikel Arteta should be sacked. And that has been reflected by almost 90% of the comments in this chat. Angel Nigelsmann is one of the most entertaining managers in football right now. He's with RB Leipzig. He's almost 90% the opposite of Mikel Arteta. Very attacking football, um, open-minded football, progressive football, and he doesn't defend too much. That's the truth. Glenn, Leipzig, should we poach Angel Nagelsmann? Do you think he has qualities Arsenal need?
No, I don't want to lose 5-0 away to Man U. So, Guardiola picked Arteta, and he was asked, why did you pick Arteta as your assistant manager when you have all these other people around? And he said his intelligence in football is second to none. So let us wait to see that. We've already seen it in a few games. I'm sure he's overthinking in some of the home games. I don't want to hear about any other manager right now. Let's give him this maybe a month or two until January, as I said, and let's see how he does. I know things are going to come correct. I know there's a time everyone was saying Shaka out, but he managed to win most of people's hearts back, and I'm sure Arteta will do that too. I'm sure there'll come a time where Pepe will play on the right, Willian will be the number 10, and everything will be working out just fantastic. So let's see how it goes. I mean, players like El Neniad were completely out, and we've seen him getting a chance under Arteta, and he's playing very well. Players like Mustafi were very, very poor until last season where they were playing quite well. So let's give him some time. And yeah, shout out to you, Cozy, again for having me, and nice meeting Nathaniel. He has some really, really good points.
Yeah, Nathaniel. As we close, you said Arsenal need someone that is a little bit more experienced, confident, progressive. Angel Nagelsmann is the man. He has not won so much, but I think he has made RB Leipzig a fierce army in the German Bundesliga. By the time they lost to Manchester United 5-0, they were table leaders there in Germany. Do you think he can actually do a good job, with the club, better than Mikel Arteta, maybe?
I do think he's a good manager, but I just feel like Nagelsmann, no, not for me. I'd rather have a manager that's a bit older, a bit, like I agree with Glenn. I know it might sound silly, but you can't go to Manchester United and lose 5-0. I mean, come on, what's going on? 5-0 to Ali, PE teacher. I just feel like, nah. Where I stand with Mikel Arteta is that I'm Mikel Arteta out right now, but I want him to do well, and I want him to change my mind. If you get what I'm saying, so
Yeah.
I just feel like give him the next couple of games. If it doesn't work out, just the club should just come out and say, you know what, we're gonna move him on, and that's basically it. I don't think I think Nagelsmann is a good manager, but I just feel like the only person I want from RB Leipzig is Upper Meccano. That's it.
Okay, guys.
Speaking of him,
yeah,
it's been very poor. I've seen Upamecano playing the last few games. It's been very, very poor. And just to add something, because if he can come and become Arteta's assistant manager, that is okay. And if we could get Arsene Wenger to come and manage our home games and Arteta the away games, we would win the title.
By the way, Arsene Wenger had a very good home record, but he was so poor on the road.
Yeah, he lost 6-0 to Chelsea in his 1,000th game. I'll never forget that.
Yeah,
especially in failure, as he said.
But as we close this, this is not on Mikel Arteta, guys. Did he say something after the Aston Villa game? He said that is the most embarrassing moment he has seen Arsenal suffer ever since we lost 5-0 to Bayern Munich. I know you still remember that. What is your most hurting and embarrassing game or loss Arsenal has ever suffered? For me, it was. Most people are gonna think it's 8-2, but it wasn't 8-2. 8-2 I don't know why, but it's not that. For me, it was that 6-0 defeat to Chelsea. I
Yep,
was
that's mine
destroyed.
too.
I was demolished.
No, I actually hold up. I actually say last year 4-1. Last year
For
4-1
one,
against Chelsea. That hurt more. I think
yeah,
I was a bit too young for the other one, but I think this one I really understood it. And going into this game, we were supposed to win it. We were supposed to win it. So
yeah.
yeah, that one really hurt.
The final.
That hurt, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
4-1.
I think what was more hurting about the 4-1 final is you're beaten Chelsea in the FA Cup, and then they beat you in the most important. That was hurting. Glenn, what's your most humiliating and embarrassing loss Arsenal has ever suffered?
How long do you have? Can you extend the show for another 2 hours? Yes, the ones you've mentioned, Chelsea 6-0. I think that is actually ahead of United, the United game, obviously. Both those games, you had a red card. People should keep that in mind. But the way we fell apart, it was terrible. I can remember a few years ago, we went to Everton and lost 3-0 when we were fighting.
You can say the Bayern one, Bayern Munich one.
It can't be the Bayern one, but they were just ahead of us in quality. There's a few games against Stoke City, but I'd say two. There was one time we went to Crystal Palace and lost 3-0, I think in Wenger's last season. And there's also a time I think I also have to have the Liverpool 5-1.
Yeah.
Liverpool 5-1, 4-0 so many times, but probably the 4-0 at the start of the season.
4-0 Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, that was one.
And the Newcastle 4-4.
Well, that wasn't the worst games, but it was a disaster. Yeah,
it was a disaster. We didn't play so bad. But it was really disappointing. Was it Kuyate? Was it no? Chektiyote. Ismail Chektiyote. That goal is still banging in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to give you one answer, I'd agree with Nathaniel and say Chelsea Europa League final, definitely.
Yeah, Chelsea.
Oh wait, let's end on the positive. The best Arsenal win. My best Arsenal win, I'll probably say 5-2 against Tottenham at home.
5-2.
Yeah. It's a long time ago, but that was the game that Adebayor got sent off. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate Adebayor. I'm so happy he got sent off that day.
Glenn.
I don't actually hate Adebayor. I know the way he left Arsenal and celebrating like that, but there are some games, those days when we used to score goals, it used to be Van Persie and Adebayor. That's why we used to beat teams 6-2, 5-2. So the best one, I'd probably say, can I say Man U the other day? No. I'd say, wow, that's a tough question. There's a couple. There's this game we went to West Ham and won 5-1 when Sanchez scored a hat-trick. And then probably Chelsea 3-0 at home when we made Conte change his tactics.
Or it could be Chelsea Robin Van Persie hat-trick.
Yeah, that was a good game. That was the last one.
5-3. Was it 5-2, 5-3?
Yeah, I think it was 5-3, 5-2, something.
Yeah, 5-3, yeah.
And we've never won since that.
Yeah. But for me, I think it is Manchester United. Beating Manchester United 3-0. The flick on, Alex Sanchez's flick on, the pass to the net from, Mesut Ozil, and what a third goal Alex Sanchez scored. When actually Manchester United were coming from the Champions League, I still remember they had a big victory in the Champions League, and all of us thought, they're going to smash us, but that was the result. That was a big result.
You can say the FA Cup final, 2-1 Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
They had the record points. They had the most points in Premier League history. The most wins, I think.
Yeah.
And we beat them.
The best Arsenal memory in recent memory has not come yet. It's going to be in the next few weeks.
What is that?
Probably when you win 5-1 away to Tottenham, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Like
I'll say Tottenham home.
Yeah.
Guys, what do you think about that Tottenham game? Do we stand a chance? Tottenham are not so good when they are, when they're possessing, but if they get you on the break, they are as deadly as a viper. Do we stand a chance, Nathan?
Obviously, I'm an Arsenal fan, so I have to say yes. But Human Son only has one less goal than Arsenal's whole team this Premier League season. And Human Son, how do you defend him? He can score with left foot, right foot. Same thing with Harry Kane. He can score with left foot, right foot. If you don't go close to him, he can shoot from outside the box. So it's going to be a difficult game. And Jose Mourinho, he has a lot of pride. He's not going to want to lose to Arsenal. So I don't know. I'm just going there hoping that we can get like a 1-1, a 2-2. And if we can't get a win, then yeah, I'll take that.
Glenn, Bell is back. Do we stand a chance?
Tottenham really struggle against teams that are in the bottom half of the table, and we are one of those teams right now. They only scored one goal against Burnley. They scored one against West Brom, so they've also really struggled to break down teams. So if we go with the same solidity, I don't think they'll actually score more than one goal against us. And yeah, I think we can get something out of that. I actually fear the Leeds game more than Tottenham.
Yeah, actually, what I love about the Tottenham game is what Jose Mourinho is very good at doing. Sit back and get them on the break is what we do best these days. So I don't know who's going to start the attack. Probably it's going to be a goalless draw. Probably it's going to be a goalless draw.
I'm hoping Son is suspended.
Anyway, guys, thank you for joining me. It has been such a wonderful show. And Glenn, Nathaniel, I really appreciate for your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much. Nathaniel, thank you so much for coming and sharing your opinion. All right, guys. I'll be closing the show. It has been quite interesting, so interesting. And Arsenal, Mikel Arteta, Pochettino, Angel Nagelsmann, the season we have had so far, 50% winning percentage, lost 4 games, won 4 games out of the 8 we have started with this season. Mikel Arteta is under pressure, but I'm still a Mikel Arteta man. I'm still a Mikel Arteta man until he proves me that he is not the right man for the job. I'm going to be leaving you for now. I'll come back tomorrow with more Arsenal videos and content, especially Thomas Partey's injury. What does it mean to Arsenal and how big is it? Because he's not going to travel with Ghana. I'm very convinced about that. He's not traveling to Ghana. So he's going to stay at the club for the international break. But what does that injury mean? How bad is it? All those things are going to come up on the podcast. Szoboszlai, there's so many talks about Szoboszlai, his agent, Arsenal, being linked here and there in the January transfer window. Of course, the January transfer window is coming up. I'll talk about Dominic Szoboszlai tomorrow and what we should expect out of that January transfer window, especially with Dominic Szoboszlai heading our transfer list. So there's so many things to talk about. Just make sure you've subscribed and you're hitting the notification button so that nothing, absolutely nothing, escapes your eyes and ears.